Kia ora team, Coach Ray here. I'm a marathon running coach who specialises in coaching beginner and recreational athletes to achieve their sporting as well as their health and fitness goals. Today's short video, I'm going to take you through the course guide for the Hawke's Bay Half Marathon. And I'll also cover off some pacing tips if you've got a sub 2 hour, a sub 1 hour 50, a sub 140 or a sub 130 time goal for the event this weekend. So this video is for athletes running the Hawke's Bay Half Marathon this weekend. What you'll learn is some insights about the course, some pacing advice, and performance tips. So let's have a look at the course. So it starts on Marine Parade in Napier, and you basically just run along the cycle trail, along the coast, all the way through to Elephant Hill Winery. Very scenic course, very flat, and it's off-road for the vast portion of it on hard-packed cycle trails and walking trails. It's a fantastic course. You'll love it. So general strategy for the course, a consistent effort throughout with a conservative start so you can finish strong. You're going to build your pace through the event so that you get that slight increase of speed, what's known as a negative split. But I'll talk a little bit more about my twist on a negative split to get the best pacing strategy for the event. And that's the 1/3 pacing strategy. To aim to run the first third of the race, or the first 7 kilometers at a steady pace, the second or the middle third of the event at a faster pace, and then the final third or 7 kilometers at your fastest pace for the event. It's not the fastest pace you can run, but the fastest to finish strong, bearing in mind that you've already got at least 14 kilometers under your belt. So the first 7 kilometers, it's just prior to the second aid station on the beachside industrial area. The second 7 kilometers goes through to the 14-kilometer mark, where you'll find the fourth aid station as you approach the mouth of the Tukituki River. And then the final 7 kilometers from that point onwards, that's when you're running at your fastest pace. Now, if you do find yourself relatively fresh in the final few kilometers, increase your pace some more. And as you pass through Hamoana, then that's the time to really put the hammer down and give it everything you've got for those last short couple of kilometers. So if you're trying to run a sub 2 hours or 5:41 minutes per kilometer, I want you to start nice and calm and steady. Focus on your cadence, focus on a nice tall upright posture, run your own race, and don't get swept up too early in the event. Now, some rough paces to guide you through the first 7 kilometers. Aim for about 5:50. The second or the middle third, aim for 5 minutes 40 per kilometer. And then the final third, aim for 5.5 minutes per kilometer. Now, my athlete there running beside me, or I'm running beside him, is Humps. Now, he, conveniently enough, often spends time at the beach at Hamoana there at the race finish line. So you might see him on race day. That photo is taken from an event over in Australia where I paced him through a double marathon as part of my support in Ultraman. Let's have a look at a sub 1 hour 50 strategy, and that's Jason, one of my other athletes, always the joker, always having fun with every event he does. Earlier on this year, he hit his half marathon PB, close to that 1 hour 50. So 5 minutes and 12 seconds per kilometer is the pace you need to sustain for a sub 1 hour 50. Key with a sub 1 hour 50, don't try and bank time to start with. Stick to the scheduled pace. Stay strong through the aid stations. Don't spend too long in there, but grab what you need, keep moving through, and watch for the pace drifting off late in the event. As with the sub 2 hour pacing strategy, I've got 3 paces there for you. The first 7 kilometers, 5 minutes 20 per kilometer. The middle third, aim for 5:10. And then the final third, aim for 5 minutes flat, and that'll see you in comfortably under that 1 hour 50 mark. Those looking at doing a sub 140, you need to maintain at 4:44 per kilometer. Stay relaxed early. Hold your rhythm. Use groups around you that are also aiming for that sub 140 if possible. Now, there aren't any pacing groups that I'm aware of for the Hawke's Bay Half Marathon. If I'm wrong with that, add a comment down the bottom so everyone's well aware, but I can't find anything on their website, and I haven't actually ran this event previously, although I have coached a couple of athletes in the last few years to do this event. And focus on the last 5 kilometers. Get to that 14K mark, lift that pace, and then when you get to that 16K pace, commit to a strong final 5 kilometers. But as a general rule of thumb, the target pace is first third, aim for 4:55, just under that 5 minute pace. Second third, aim for 4:45, and then the final third, aim for 4:35 minutes per kilometre. That'll get you home and host comfortably under that 1 hour 40. Now, for a sub 1 hour 30, that means averaging 1:15 per kilometre. Now, that athlete there is Jess. She is, I'll call her one of my star athletes. She won the junior women's category at the Auckland Half Marathon last year with a 1:27:50, I want to say off the top of my head. A sharp time, comfortably under that 1 hour 30. You need to have a controlled start, strong through the middle, and then finish really strong. Make sure you give everything you've got. Also, know when to surge and when to sit in. Don't try and go with the faster runners at the start. You'll burn a few too many matches, you'll use too much energy, and it'll fry your race literally. Stick with your heart rate or power goals if they're relevant for you. If you want to chat about them, feel free to touch base. I'll see if we can have a catch up prior to the event. I can give you a bit of direct guidance on what they should be. But if you're using pace, first 7 kilometers, aim for 4:25 minutes per kilometre. The second 7 kilometers, we're picking the pace up to 4:15 per kilometre. And then the final third of the event, 4:05 each kilometre, done and dusted, sub 1:30. Congratulations. Let's have a look at some of my mental tips for race day success. I strongly encourage you sitting down, planning out your race. And I've got a self-psych form that will help you do that. I recommend doing it 2 days out from the event. Find half an hour of quiet space, print this form off, and use old school pen and paper and write in everything. Fill in a questionnaire, what your goals are, what you want to achieve, what's gone well with your progress, and also cover off all the what ifs. What if this goes wrong? What if that happens? That way you've got a plan or you've got a concept of what you can and will do. You don't get to a point where you trip over and skin your knee and think, what am I going to do? Well, if you trip up and skin your knee and you've already thought about it, you can assess it. Is this bad enough to stop me running? I don't know because I haven't even tried taking a step yet. Take a few steps, see how it goes. Make those decisions based on real-time information, but have a plan already upstairs or an idea of what you'll do. And my self-psych form will help you with that. Now, there's a link in the description down below. You can just click on that, download the form, and print it out. Use it for every event that you've got coming up. So that'll just help you develop that race plan and set things in concrete, which will mean that you're more likely to be successful with your goals. Also, have some mantras or visualizations in your head as well. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. That's one I often use. It's one line of a song, but playing over and over in your head. When things get tough, you can get going. Also, break the race into chunks. I use my 1/3 strategy. That works gold. A lot of people like breaking the event into 5K segments. There's 4 of them, plus that extra 1 kilometer. 1 kilometer is easy when you've done 4 5K segments. And so breaking it into those chunks, whether it's the 1/3 or the 5K blocks, it doesn't matter. Break it in, tick them off as you complete them. I don't recommend using 1 kilometer because there's 21 of them and it takes a long time to get a lot of ticks. Where you get your first tick done and dusted, you move through those 4 ticks or 3 if you're ticking off chunks of the race that are a bit bigger than that 1 kilometer. Let's have a look at the nutrition and the weather for the weekend. At this stage, forecast high of 19, low of 12, and it's going to be cloudy. No rain. It's the Hawke's Bay anyway. No rain. Perfect conditions for having a good event in the weekend. If it's a little bit hotter and maybe a little bit more humid, have a little bit more fluid at the aid stations. Now, at the aid stations, they've got the lemon flavour pure electrolyte drink, and they've also got water. If you're familiar and with Pure, use it at each aid station. If you have a bad race and hit the wall, just get as much of that electrolyte down you. The carbohydrate from it will help pick you up and help getting you moving again. Stay on top of the hydration through the event. A little and often is the key. I recommend having a little bit, half a cup, maybe a full cup at each aid station as you pass through it. If you're going to be out on the course longer, i.e. you aim for that 150, 2 hours, or maybe even longer than 2 hours, have a little bit more. Make sure you're well hydrated because it's going to take you a little bit longer to get to the finish line than the faster people. They're not going to need as much fluid. Race morning, make sure you've got your running shoes, your cap, sunglasses, your race number. They're all key things. Now, there's a bag drop, so you can use the official gear bag that you get from registration. Your race number's got a bag label. Leave all your gear that you need at the finish, and that'll be transported, and you'll be able to just pick that up at the finish line. It's a really great system they have there. Now, warm up wise, if you've got a fast goal, you're going to need a really great warm up. If you're more recreational, a basic warm up, or even just use the first few kilometers as your warm up. Make sure you go to the bathroom nice and early. There's likely to be some decent queues at the toilets prior to the start. Start time is 8 o'clock. Make sure you're on the start line in a good position by 7:50. Now they've got it all color coded, so depending on what goal time you have or believe you'll finish in, line up at the appropriate point and make sure everything is you're in the right place, ready for the event. Final kilometers, when you get into Moana, make sure you just give everything you've got. Last few kilometers, all good to go. Leave nothing out on the course. Finish with an empty tank, fast and strong. Use those aid stations, as I mentioned before, as your benchmarks. The second aid station is about 8 kilometers in, so a little bit further than that first third. As you get to the Tuakuri River Bridge, the 14-kilometer mark is the fourth aid station, and that's as you approach the mouth of the Tukituki River. So if you want to smash your next half marathon, I've got a number of training plans that will help you with that. There's my Project 2, my Project 150, my Project 140, and Project 1 Hour 30 training plans. They're 10 and 20-week training plans depending on your current ability and how long to your event. I've also got my Run Strong, Build Strength for Faster, More Efficient Running training plan. There's a couple of options for that. There's a 12-week and a 24-week with 2 or 3 gym sessions per week, depending on the type of training plan that you want to complement your running. And if you want to join Team Qwik Kiwi for the Queenstown Half Marathon, the 24-week training plan starts on the 2nd of June. So touch base or use the links down below in the description for all those training plans. And if you want something a little bit more personalized, send me a direct message or email me at coachray@coachray.nz. I've got a range of options to build your fitness.